Remember the war on terror? Yeah, it was awful. Let's put it behind us. Or commemorate it with a new memorial. Luckily, the mainstream media will interrogate the veracity of this endeavour and ensure that this isn't used to facilitate ongoing wars. Or will they just make it seem normal and kind of cute? Hello there, you awakening wonders. You number in your millions, but more important than that, as an individual, you are connected to the infinite, and your awakening is part of the solution to a very serious problem. The problem is that the legacy media amplify the lies of the powerful, and we are being marched towards dystopia, surveilled and censored as we blindly walk forward, except for here, where we awaken together. It's so important that you follow us if you can, and become an awakened wonder if it's within your means. If it's not within your means, don't worry about that. Your attention and your presence is far more valuable than your money, because that's what's going to change the world, your consciousness. Let's get into today's story. There is a new memorial being planned to commemorate the war on terror. Those of you old enough to actually remember it will not want a memorial, because you will remember it as a travesty and a tragedy that caused the deaths of millions of people all over the world. 4.5 million is a rough estimate. Created problems that we're still living with, geopolitical disasters across the Middle East, and in a sense facilitated the new military-industrial complex that continues to perpetuate its agenda to this day. It's also the issue that defines our time. When people tell the truth about war, the motives for war, the fiasco that is war, whether it's in Afghanistan, Iraq, or the current conflict between Ukraine and Russia, those people are silenced and shut down. This is a time where war is perhaps more important than ever, because there is a war against the individual, the war against domestic population, and numerous planned wars against other superpowers, presumably to facilitate a unipolar global dystopia where none of us have any individual freedom, and it seems that they're doing surprisingly well. Let's have a look at this memorial to dread, death, tragedy, travesty, and dishonor. Hooray! Yeah, here's the news, we are your friends. The news is a television program. The news is not, here's some information. Newspapers, mainstream legacy media, they are agenda-led. It is absolute propaganda. Some of it is vicious, overt propaganda, sponsored by Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer, Moderna, shot of the tournament. Some of it is more insidious propaganda. Hello, I'm just a neutral expert, and yes, we should escalate this war. Do you get any money from Raytheon? Well, some. Like, there's different degrees of propaganda, but it's all propaganda. And this propaganda is fantastic. It's the cozy familiarity of news media that those of us that are around my kind of age lean into for comfort, as if we're watching Cheers or The Golden Girls, a time when television was your kind of friend, or at least you felt that it was. There was a kind of a warmth and a reaching out in good faith. Not the just ongoing, agenda-led, propagandizing, disempowering, lying filth presented to you over a hot, steaming mug of Morning Joe. Doesn't smell like Joe, smells like bullshit.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. As we celebrate the holidays, we're also remembering those who served our nation, including service members who fought in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria.
We're not going to remember them too hard, though. Otherwise, we'll be forced to remember that their lives were squandered and wasted in an attempt to steal resources in a conflict that was not at all connected to the war on terror that it was claimed they were fighting. They may as well have just bombed Finland, except there's no oil in Finland. So it's presented to you as if it's like part of Christmas or something, wouldn't it? Like, it's time for the holidays. And of course, I'm not blaming the individual newscaster. This is just an individual node within a vast network of deception. You know that. Let me know in the chat if you agree. But it's the manner of this presentation. Isn't the legacy media supposed to interrogate and investigate? In the instances when they do that, you might surmise that there's an agenda behind it. And if you look, you will find one. Oh, it's really interesting. Why are they investigating that issue? Oh, I see, it benefits the powerful. What the news could be saying is, let's have a serious look at the war on terror, because like millions of people died. Did it benefit anybody? Why were we told that we were having this war? We were told there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Iraq, for example, and there just weren't. What's the true legacy of the war on terror? How has it affected our attitude towards militarism, and how has it affected US foreign policy? Is this a time for us to radically reevaluate America's role in the world? Do you want America going around getting engaged in foreign wars that's funded by you? You're funding it, let's make no bones about it. And by the way, that funding isn't reaching those troops that are putting their lives on the line. Significant sums, at least half, maybe as much as 70%, ends up in the hands of Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. That's not hard to do that. Actually, it is quite hard. We work extremely hard and we've been dedicated to it. But it's possible to do it. We do it with you. We do it because we believe that it's necessary. These guys don't. What is their job then? What are they actually doing? They're essentially saying their role is to normalise the agenda of the powerful. Just notice that. Next time you're looking at mainstream news, I don't reckon you should do it. Notice, are they normalising the agenda of the powerful now? Is this essentially an advert for big tech? Is this introducing a piece of authoritarian surveillance technology that is going to, next time I see it, oh yeah, I saw that on the news. Like you're just seeing the Kellogg's rooster and just put it in your mouth without thinking, hang on a minute, would it be just as nutritious to eat the goddamn box?
There's now a bipartisan push on Capitol Hill to build a memorial on the National Mall to honor their sacrifice.
You know that illegal war? Yeah. Well, we're just going to honour your sacrifice. You mean when a beloved family member died for no reason? Yeah, we're going to honour that. Thanks.
But the effort has run into some political obstacles in Congress.
The effort to build a national global war on terrorism memorial was authorized by Congress in 2017.
The war on terror was always a stupid idea. It's a stupid idea. You can't have a war on terror. You've made it worse already by doing a war on it. It's abstract, it's diffuse, it has complex undergirdings, it doesn't take place sponsored by nation states, and if it did, there was one in particular that really stood out. They're a prominent ally of America to this day, with old Joe Biden going over there, not making them a pariah, but making them a friend. It's complicated. So the idea that you're going to somehow solidify it as a monolith or an object just shows you the propagandizing mentality of the state to this day. It's just to give you a reality that sort of engulfs your consciousness and stops you thinking straight. And the mainstream media supports it, propagates it, benefits from it, is part of it.
But it didn't specify when or where construction would begin. It will be built with private donations.
Oh, that's good. Private donations. From whom? Where'd they get the money? What's their agenda? Answer those questions. Be surprised by the outcome.
And 3 sites on the National Mall have been proposed, allowing the remembrance of our longest war to share hallowed ground with memorials to our founding fathers, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
It's not the hit parade, is it? It's not like the charts. It's not the Billboard Top 10. Some of our best wars. This war, that was a good one. That one, sorry about that. This one, that was illegal. This one, this is the longest one. Like, it's still happening. I mean, it's been normalised to the point where I don't even really think about it anymore, except with a heavy heart. I don't think, should we build a statue to that? I think, should we stop doing it?
This has been our nation's longest war.
Here you go, yet more propaganda. Do you know what would make this look great? If we had 2 female people from Congress, one from each party, to show that we are united in propagandizing the population. That would look nice. How about actually having some integrity, some authenticity, some values, some principles? We could never do that.
Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican, and New Hampshire Democrat Maggie Hassan are leading a bipartisan effort to mandate the Global War on Terror Memorial be built on the mall.
The mainstream media simply amplifies the propaganda of the state and the military-industrial complex, whereas we want to interrogate and investigate the facts so that we can bring you truth, so that we can mutually awaken together, which frankly is impossible for us to do without our commercial partners and sponsors, and by God are they loyal. Sticker Mule. These guys are bringing you a set of new stickers. I mean, I don't actually even understand how their business model works, but there are 6 fantastic designs that you can have for nothing. Look, I'm one of them. Check it out. There are 6 stunning designs, including that one, that are only available in this pack, and they're all made with Sticker Mule's magic touch, and by God are they sticky. Sticker Mule has 10,000 of these packs. That's right, 10,000. 10,000, ready to deliver to your address absolutely free. It seems to me that there's literally nothing to lose. Just go to stickermule.com/Russell and fill out the form. That's all you got to do. Go to stickermule.com/Russell, get sent these things. They're supporting us, you're supporting us. Let's get some stickers out of this thing. Let's go back to the egregious, awful propaganda of the mainstream media that like to pretend that what they're doing is actual news, when what they're doing is the amplification of propaganda without inquiry and question.
Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican, and New Hampshire Democrat Maggie Hassan are leading a bipartisan effort to mandate the Global War on Terror Memorial be built on the mall.
It's amazing that what we're presented is a faux argument between two parties who are funded in the exact same way, who have basically the same agenda. They're occasionally brought together either to fund a war or to build a monolith to an unnecessary and illegal war. Well, what united you two? I suppose just our love of war.
At least 54 other senators are also on board.
Getting agreement across the aisle shouldn't be hard.
This is not news, is it? This is the amplification of an existing message. Why is that person not going, what the hell are you doing? What do you mean, a memorial for a war? This is appalling. Why are you still doing this stuff? Do you have stocks and shares in anything that's connected to this? What's your relationship with Raytheon and Lockheed Martin? Just tell us again how much money they spend on donations to your party every year. Oh God, get out! Get out! That's what the media is supposed to be doing. But when people actually do stuff like that, do you know what the media do? They destroy them.
Exactly. When you think about our veterans, men and women who serve, don't ask each other what political party they're in as they go into danger.
The fact that this apocryphal service person doesn't ask which party is leading them to war is presented here as a sort of a cosy maxim around loyalty somehow. But it wouldn't matter if they did ask, because the answer would be both of them, all the time, always, because you cannot oppose war anymore, because the interests that drive war are transcendent of democracy. Regardless of who's in this position or the position of administration, you will still be getting wars, as exemplified by the two of us, apparent opponents, sat here together, cosily discussing a memorial to an imaginary war that somehow caused actual deaths. So it's not like, oh, isn't it great that people don't ask questions? The fact is, it doesn't matter if you ask questions, because the answer is these interests are beyond party politics. Party politics is irrelevant, and really all these people are at this point are actors. This is a production. These two Congress people are actors. Their agency is irrelevant. It wouldn't matter what they say, what they do, or what they want. And the news media are just amplifiers of that message. Congress people are not going, we're here to represent the American people. What do the American people want? How do we ensure that their will is enacted through us? They're not doing that, are they? Plainly, you can see that. The media aren't going, is what you're saying true? Why are you doing that? Hey, wait a minute, I've got some questions. So what do you have? You have a spectacle. It's a spectacle. It's an illusion. It is almost, actually, I suppose, the Matrix.
Don't ask each other what political party they're in as they go into danger on behalf of their...
On behalf of their who? On behalf of their, you're about to say fellow Americans. Is that what it was? Does anyone believe at this point that if the war on terror had not happened, actual Americans in America would be any worse off than they are today? That the world would be any worse off than it is today? I've not heard any convincing arguments. Most people say it caused ISIS. The fractures and disputes in the Middle Eastern region are the direct legacy of that. Millions of children died. Millions of service people, the people indeed that this Congress person is talking about, died as a result of it. What was gained? What can we go, well, there you go, Halliburton did well out of it and Dick Cheney's looking good. Remember, that's when the Republican Party were the party of war. Now the Democrat Party are the party of war. Almost as if there's an agenda and they're just like the fleas on the back of the dog of war.
We know that it is the right thing to do to place a Global War on Terror memorial on the National Mall. We all know that.
Oh my God, reality is broken. It's actually broken. They've broken it. They've broken actual reality now. We're going to have to amend it. We're going to have to put reality back together. Nothing less than a total revolution, beginning with your individual consciousness, but ending with the replacement of all of our existing systems, will be sufficient to amend the horror that they've wreaked upon our planet. Thanks for joining us.
We want to make sure that we're able to honor those that have participated in our nation's most recent war while they are still with us.
They're presenting this as honouring and commemorating brave dead service people, but what they're actually doing is normalising a corporate, commercial, colonial, imperialist endeavour that was based on a lie and remains a lie. Do you see how the trick happens? See, even in criticising it, you could get people to go, oh, you don't care about those dead service people. Yeah, I do actually. I do care about them. That's why I think this whole endeavour is pretty disgusting.
Many of them are questioning, does my country understand the sacrifice that I gave. And we want to tell them that, yes, we honor you.
We want to tell you. What is this? A sort of a play? A puppet show? They may say, does my country recognize the sacrifice of my life? They're dead now. This is a ghost. And we're saying, yes, because of statue.
Now, the bill actually unanimously passed a Senate committee chaired by Joe Manchin. The senators are now hoping to attach it to the national defense spending bill that the Senate will take up next week.
What? National, what? Sorry, more expenditure for, are there wars going on now? How about this as a memorial to those dead people? Stop involving America in unnecessary, unwinnable wars. Are there any unnecessary, unwinnable wars happening right now? Yeah, loads. The one we're building this statue to, and a great big new one that some people think will become an actual hot boots on the ground war any day now. And there is some indication that troops are being sent to Ukraine in spite of the president saying that would never happen. It's happening.
The foundation intends to not only break ground, but complete construction and open the memorial to the public, perhaps right back there.
There might be a statue there one day beyond that duck. Here's the news. Thanks for tuning in. If you need to know anything else that might happen beyond a duck, you can rely on us for other near-duck related information. If, however, you require integrity, insight, transparency, and potentially holding the powerful to account, which I don't think that is related to ducks, you probably should watch something else. But we're good with it. We do the duck stuff, though.
Right back there by the end of the decade.
I said decade, not decade.
Chris, a generation of men and women and their service, and as so many said in that piece, you don't want that slap in the face at this point. Thank you.
What? No one likes the metaphorical slap in the face of not building an unnecessary statue, but I bet they like even less the actual physical bullets in the guts of an unnecessary war where a foreign territory was invaded under false pretenses. Also, don't you think that the statue should actually just be the face of an American service person being slapped by a handful of money held by George W. Bush or Joe Biden? Don't matter. They both agreed that it should happen. This is from The Intercept. Back in 2004 at the White House Correspondents Association dinner, Bush joshed about looking for Iraq's weapons of mass destruction in the Oval Office since they hadn't turned up anywhere else.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? 4.5 million people died, and it's like, oh, those weapons of mass destruction, where were they, huh? Wink, wink.
Maybe under here.
At the same event 6 years later, in 2010, President Barack Obama kidded about killing the Jonas Brothers with a Predator drone.
The Jonas Brothers are here. Sasha and Malia are huge fans, but boys don't get any ideas. I have 2 words for you: Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
Again, the joke here is that Obama murdered American citizens with drones, and according to a 2013 book, told aides that I'm really good at killing people. It's not really the legacy of Barack Obama that we're encouraged to consider, is it? That, you know, he participated in murder and was good at murder. Maybe these 2 videos could play continuously at the Global War and Terror Memorial, so everyone will realise there's no reason we can't have some fun with this whole thing. We're going to leave it here on this platform. Watch the full video on Rumble by clicking the link in the description. Join us over there. It's more important than ever that you support our independent media movement, because we are about more than telling the truth, even though telling the truth is what we really believe in a world of deception. Stay free.